Hi, good evening, everybody. Please welcome to this live. And I'm really excited to talk about something new, which even I am not aware. We are going to talk about Vastu for Wellness today. And I have a special guest who will be joining us now. Savi will be joining us soon to give us some expert tips on Vastu for Wellness and general Vastu knowledge. Savi, are you there? All right, everybody. So this is Savi Barolia, and she's an architect turned Vastu expert. And she has helped more than 1,800 people with her Vastu consultation and guidance to lead a more elevated life, with better relationships and better quality of life. So it's a pleasure to have you with us today, Savi, and we are going to talk about a lot about Vastu and specifically Vastu for wellness. So welcome. Would you like to tell us more about what you do? What is your work? What's so interesting about your work?
Sure. I'm really glad to join you for the live today, Mawa. As Mawa already mentioned, I'm an architect turned Vastu expert. In fact, the funny thing is, until almost 2020, I personally never believed in Vastu, never even practiced it. It was only when I got a hand at understanding about the subject and when I learned it in depth and when I started applying it to my own life and did like around 53 case studies for people around me. And when these people came back and told me that they found a difference, is when I actually understood the true potential of the science. So I have been a very strict non-believer of Vastu. And then from there, I converted into a believer. So it's been quite a journey. And it changed so much that I changed my entire career path to this now because I feel the reason why I never believed in Vastu was because the way I saw people practicing it, or as a child, I would always see people practicing it belonging from an astrology or from a religious background. So I always thought it doesn't hold any science and it's not true for, right now. But having learnt about it, experienced it, I know for a fact that there is a science and logic to it. It's just the way it has been portrayed in the past that makes us feel that it is non-scientific or non-logical, but it's not so.
All right. So wonderful. Thank you for telling us more about Vastu. And that brings me to the first question. What is Vastu? What are the elements that come into coordination with each other in Vastu?
Vastu, as a science, it works on the principles of directions. Let's say you have a headache and you go to a doctor, right? So when you go to a doctor, what is the doctor going to do? The doctor is going to ask that, okay, he will try to diagnose why is your headache occurring? Is it because your head is a problem, or is it because maybe you did not eat since morning and because of an empty stomach, now your headache is rising? So depending on his diagnosis, he'll tell you, okay, which organ of your body is creating a problem and he'll work on that. Similarly, as per Vastu, every direction is responsible for some aspect of your life. So, for example, one direction is responsible for giving you money and financial opportunities in life. One direction is related to giving you better relationships. Another direction is related to give you good health, etc. So, depending on which problem or which area of your life you're facing a problem with, we can check that, okay, which direction of your house might be at a problem and which direction needs a fix.
Now that brings me to the second question. Like you said, when you have a headache, you go to a doctor. So when does a person realize he or she needs a Vastu consultation, or there is something non-compliant with Vastu in their life? What are the signs?
Right. So, for example, there can be three conditions. The first condition, let's say you move to a new house, and since the time you move to that house, you start feeling something that's not normal. Like, for example, maybe earlier you were a very energetic person and you were very serious about your career, but since the time you moved to your new house, you feel that all that motivation or energy that I had in me, now it's not there anymore. And these changes, or be it, let's say you started falling sick a lot, changes that you felt that, okay, this did not happen to me before, try to match the timeline. That since when are these problems occurring with you? Is it because since the time you moved to this house? If that's so, that tells you that, okay, you need a check. Whereas if, let's say, somebody is living in a house for, let's say, 20 years, they might say that, our Vastu is not changing. So if I'm facing a problem today, how can it be related to the Vastu of my house, right? But in that case, what happens is if you're living in a house for, let's say, 20 years, your house constantly undergoes renovation. You might change the curtain colors, you might add new objects in your house. Your house will also erode, like you'll have seepage somewhere, etc. So your house is also wearing off. So similarly, if you feel that something is happening which is not normal, for example, all your business, all your work was going fine, but suddenly everything is getting stuck. Like, for example, you're looking for girls for marriage, but it's not happening. Let's say you are waiting for client payments, but they're constantly getting stuck. If things feel that, okay, it's not normal, it has never happened to me before, or maybe like since the time we moved to this house, this has been happening. That's what tells you that, okay, this is not normal. That means there's some Vastu error in the house, which is why we're facing such a problem.
Right. Right. So just like in wellness also, everything is linked. Your physical health is linked to your mental health. Just like that in Vastu also, when you see signs like this, you know that you need a consultation. Now, the third question, and I think it is also the question of many of us who have joined us here, is normally people think that Vastu means a lot of reconstruction, breaking things and rearranging, and it's not very easy. But do you think it's always like that, or do you think that no, you can do with minimum changes and just direction change and things like that?
See, for like right in the introduction when you mentioned like I've taken up over 1800 clients. So, for example, from all the cases that I've done so far, which has been like 1800 around or something, and so most of the time my clients were either living in apartments, or a lot of time they were, living in rented apartments outside India, or even, houses outside India. So where reconstruction is a bigger thing as compared to India. So most 80% of my clients were not able to, do any construction changes. But even after that, we were able to get amazing results, because it's not just how the house is built, it's also about where you keep things in your house. For example, how do you keep your bed? How do you keep your cupboards? Where do you keep your money? Where do you keep your photographs, etc.? All of these things also matter much more than just the walls of your house. By fixing and realigning your interiors, you can have a very good improvement and a very positive, elevation of your life.
All right. So wonderful. That's good to know that, we just by changing direction. And so these are really big myths that is being broken today, that it doesn't always require a lot of reconstruction and breaking. And it's wonderful to know. And the next thing that I want to ask you is, what are the aspects of life that Vastu can touch upon? Like, for example, today we are going to talk ahead now about wellness, how Vastu can bring wellness, health. So what are the other aspects of life, for every one of us to know how Vastu impacts us, how Vastu can help us? What are the areas?
So it basically involves all aspects of your life. Just to list a few, for example, if you feel that, okay, since the time I've moved to this particular place, I'm not getting clarity of thought. Like I'm confused that, okay, whether I should go for this or go for that. I'm always constantly feeling confused. Apart from this, if let's say somebody's trying for marriage and they're not able to get a right match, they're trying very hard, but it's not happening. Or every time, they finalize a girl or a boy, when the time of marriage comes, something, happens that your relationship gets broken, or there's some delays in the marriage which is happening, that can also be solved through us. Apart from that, even if let's say you are opening your new business while working from home, you're doing some online business, and if you feel that you're not getting enough clients, it's not working out. So even just by fixing how where you're sitting, how you're working around it, you can get amazing results by fixing things in your house. Apart from that, if somebody is facing depression issue, that they feel that, okay, everything in my life normally is okay, but still mentally I don't feel happy. Like even after having everything in my life, I'm still not happy. I feel hollow from inside. I constantly feel upset. So then that's not normal. That means that maybe the area of your house where you're spending most of your time in the house, that is not a correct place. Maybe you should try reorienting your furniture, or change the place where you spend most of your time in the house. So a lot of things like that can be touched upon through us.
That's wonderful. So basically, I can summarize that Vastu can touch upon almost all the aspects in your life, from relationships to health to prosperity, and in largely, can we say all these things? Yeah, it touches upon all the aspects of your life. All right, so that's wonderful. I would like to know from you, for wellness, what are the kind of things we can do to have peace of mind? For example, what should be the direction where we sit to meditate or sit to do our work so that we have peace of mind, more productivity, or better health? How should we sleep to get better sleep, good rest in the night? Can you give some tips like that to us?
Sure. So the first thing, as you mentioned, the peace of mind, or having a good focus while working, or if somebody is into meditating, then which direction is important? In that case, the northeast direction becomes very important for you. In fact, if you're somebody who prefers meditating every day, and if you want to increase, like for example, as a beginner or as a practitioner, you have certain time limit, right? That I can meditate for this much time effectively. When I'm meditating every day. In that case, try sitting in the northeast direction of your house and start meditating over there. Over a period of just 1 week, you will realize that if you were able to meditate for 5 minutes before, it will slightly increase to 6 minutes and so on if you continue sitting there while meditating. So meditating in the northeast can be really helpful. Apart from this, if somebody is looking for mental peace in general in the house, then northeast again direction is directly related to your mind. So therefore, you have to make sure that this area of your house you always keep it clean. It's not like you don't make a store over there. Apart from
All
this,
right. Yeah.
people who are learning about Vastu, seeing that okay, how while we like for people a lot of times what happens is we feel that there are like big problems in our life, like major financial issue or major problem occurring in our house. That's when I need a Vastu check. But even by just aligning simple things, for example, the place where you work or study in your house can help you increase productivity. And if you don't results in less than 10 days, and this is exactly what I am teaching in my upcoming workshop on this Friday, 27th at 3:30 p.m., where I will be teaching that if you want to maximize your productivity depending on your weakness. So, somebody's weakness might be that, okay, I can't focus for too long. Somebody's weakness might be that, okay, I have to take a lot of client calls. How can I make these calls more productive for me? Where should I sit so that they become more productive for me? There are somebody might say that, I'm very nervous. I need more confidence. I am very low in confidence. So depending on what your problem area is, I am teaching that where can you place your study or work that's in the house, which will be able to cater to your weakness, and you can see results in just 10 days after applying those traits. So if anybody is interested in the upcoming workshop, you can also DM me personally after the session, so I'll be able to guide you with the details.
Okay. So,
For all the viewers, I just have one thing. No matter which house you are living, how you live, etc., if you feel you're getting stuck in your life, if you feel that some area of your life is not working out fine, you're feeling stuck somewhere, just see that which area of your house is the most dirty, or where is all the clutter in your house, and start clearing up that corner. You realize as soon as you clear up this area, that problem of yours will start fading. So start clearing up the corner which you feel that where you've stored a lot of dust or dirt from a long period, and the area of your house which is not cleaned since a long time. Clear that up and you'll see how positive things start coming.
this is so true with even with psychology, because with yoga I've studied psychology, that the minute you clear clutter from your house, all that is not required, you're just storing, you're also clearing clutter from your mind. And same thing you have said, and it's very interesting how all these sciences are connected. Thank you very much, Savi. It was an interesting discussion. I'm sure our audiences, those who have joined us, enjoyed all the tips that you have given, and they'll be happy to join with you. She has a workshop coming up on 22nd, so please do connect with her if you need any. 27th. Yeah, 27th. All right. Thank you very much. Have a good evening. Thank you for joining.